We are going live, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shall we start?
Very good morning to one and all
Very
present
good
here.
morning to one and all
On behalf of
present
the
here.
Study Department
On
and
behalf of the
Research
Study
Department of
Department
Commerce,
and Research Department of Commerce,
DG Vaishnav College,
DG
I
Vaishnav
welcome
College,
you to
I welcome you
Taxpayers
to
Awareness Lecture
Taxpayers
Series
Awareness
3
Series
on
3
e-billing GST.
on e-billing.
We have got the
We have
wonderful
got
resource persons
the wonderful
from
resource
different
persons
parts of the country
from different parts
to deliver the lecture today. May I now request Dr. B. Vijay Kumar, Assistant Professor, PG and Research Department of Commerce, DG Vaishnav College, to welcome the gathering and introduce the chief guest and the resource persons. Over
Uh,
to Dr. B. Vijay Kumar.
yes, sir. Jai Shri Krishna. Good to one all as here. On behalf of the Postgraduate and Research Department of Commerce, Department of Corporate Secretaryship, DG Vishnu College, and the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, I welcome you all virtual Taxpayer Awareness Lecture Series 3. Today's lecture focuses on e-way bill and its importance in GST. We have three eminent resource persons today with us to organize the session for us. We have CMA Chittaranjan Chattopadhyay, Central Council member of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. We have Srivatsan, Additional Assistant Commissioner, National Academy for Customs, Indirect Taxes and Narcotics, Chennai. We have CMA BM Gupta, Chief Taxologist, Logo Infosoft. Here we have, I am proudly placed on record that our Commerce Department of DG Vaishnav College has introduced GST as a part of curriculum in December 2017 semester itself, and we have been frequently organizing training, faculty development programs and lectures on GST. The Department of Commerce has also signed an MOU with the Institute of Cost Accountants of India to offer a crash course on GST. And in the past 1 year, we have trained 350 students in GST to empower them to take up taxation and GST as a profession. Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, the Institute and the department has organized the third batch of GST crash course, training 46 students, for which Srivatsan sir was also one of the faculties. Now it is my duty to introduce the guests of our day. Our first speaker, CMA Chittaranjan Chattopadhyay, is an ex-banker who has served at the helm of affairs in the banking sector with 3.5 decades of rich experience in the banking sector. He is the chairman for Banking, Financial Services and Insurance Committee of the Institute of the Cost Accountants of India. He has been serving the institute from the chapter region and had been elected to the council for the term 2019 to 2023. He has represented in various committees of the institute and other regulatory bodies. He is a graduate in science and law and holds the prestigious membership of CPFA London. Sir is a voracious reader and a motivating speaker to the professionals and to the students. On behalf of the college and the institute, I welcome you, sir. Our second speaker for the day, Shri R. Srivatsan, has been awarded the prestigious President of India Award 2019, and he has received the award in New Delhi in January 2020 for his exemplary services in the core competence area. He has been associated with the department in various positions and has been training the young officials and orienting them with requisite skills and knowledge for the performance of the duties. Sir also addresses in various forums and handles lectures in GST in professional institutes and other institutions. Sir did his schooling from the Avicii School, a government aided institution, thus proving the excellence that students from government educational institutions can reach with higher name and fame. He has graduated from Loyola College, Chennai, AMIE from the Institute of Engineers, Kolkata. Sir also holds a postgraduate diploma in public administration from Anna University, Chennai. He has been trained in financial intelligence and investigation from Indian Institute of Management, Bengaluru. On behalf of the college and the institute, I welcome you, sir. Our third speaker for the day, we have with us CMA Bogavalli Mallikarjuna Gupta with us from Hyderabad. Sir has over 2 decades of experience in the areas of taxation, GST, product management, sales, operations, marketing, finance, accounting, costing, and project accounting, and is currently designated as Chief Taxologist at Logo Infosoft and GST and Management Consultant. Sar is a graduate in commerce and also holds a postgraduate diploma in computer science to his credit. He holds the fellow membership of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. Sir is also a member of the Institute of Directors. His master class on GST was launched by Shri K. Rosaya, ex-Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh and ex-Governor of Tamil Nadu. Sir has advised various corporate houses, public sector units on matters related to GST, finance, accounting, and IT implementation. Sir has architected GST solutions for various ERP and accounting packages in India. Sir has designed a GST solution for one of the leading ERPs in India as a user configurable solution way back in 2014. Sir has addressed outreach programs and continuous education program on GST, internal audit, MSME survival strategies for various department officers, defense officials, traders, professionals, and corporates from time to time. Sir has addressed more than 125 sessions. He has also, to his credit, authored various articles and blogs on GST, MSMEs, finance, and are published in leading newspapers, magazines, ICAI tax bulletins, portals, and etc. Sir is also a social and environmentalist. He has completed 24 times half marathons and 2 ultra marathons of 50 kilometers and 75 kilometers. Sir is an adventure sports enthusiast, hiker, photographer, and also holds Guinness World Record title holder as a team member for most people in a mountain run, single mountain. On behalf of the college and the institute, I welcome you, sir. On behalf of the management, principal, staff, and students of the Commerce Department, Corporate Secretaryship Department, the Institute of Cost and Works Accountants of India, I welcome all the participants to the program. Have a great day. Thank you.
Sir, thank you for your wonderful introduction of the resource persons. There is a saying in Tirukural, Ulluvadellam Uyar Ullal, because the resource persons are example for the saying by the Tiruvalluvar. Because even our Honorable Prime Minister has quoted the wordings from Mahakavi Bharati, Mannum Ime Malayengal Malaye. So each and every resource person is as tall as the mount of the Himalayas. So we are very happy to have all of you today, sir. I now request our beloved Chittopadhyay ji to give the special address for the Taxpayers Awareness Lecture. Over to Chittopadhyay ji.
Thank you, CMA Rakesh Shankar Ravishankar. Good morning to you all. Let me start with the day because now the Diwali is coming within 15 days. So I convey my best wishes for a very safe life in this particular pandemic time. So I pray to Almighty for everybody's good health and safe life. This is a very, it's a privilege for me, respected Professor Dr. V. Vijay Kumar, Assistant Professor, PG and Research Department in Commerce, and our very doyen of, in the nursing, that Dr. Sri R. Sivatsan, Additional Assistant Commissioner, Nursing Chennai. I understand he's a man of, already he has been recognized by Government of India. So it's a great day for me also to be present in the same dais, same studio, to share some views with him. And Dr. Prabha and our chief speaker today, CMA B.M. Gupta, who is actually our resource person, and our institute has this privilege to have such type of resource persons, very young, and he's a very promising, and we'll be finding in days to come that B.M. Gupta will be shining day by day, and he'll be contributing for the development of the nation through his skills. And our very own CMA Rakesh Shankar Ravishankar ji, who is also contributing for CMA profession in a great way through the Internal Audit Assurance Standard Board. All the professors of this esteemed college, Vaishnav College, we take pride in the MOU with this particular college, which is really creating history and is an example, rather set an example before all the universities and colleges, how the skill can be also developed with the help of a professional institute like us. And we are eager to contribute more and more for the cause of this college students, all the esteemed students, all the esteemed professors. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's really an important, issue that has been selected today, topics in the tax series, taxpayers awareness series, and I understand that these sort of programs will definitely give a tremendous fillip before the students, before those who have chosen this commerce as their career. It will be creating a roadmap for them, these sort of programs. And since the UA bill is a very important, issue in this particular Atmanirbhar Bharat, let us discuss certain aspects on Atmanirbhar Bharat, because now we are looking for a new India, new self-reliant India, and a clarion call given by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. And you see, whatever steps are being taken in this GST, in these other areas, you will find that we are going to be self-reliant in various facets of the life. And in our compliance issue also, we are trying to build up a very robust and transparent system. As you all know, already some faceless assessment is coming in the direct tax front. And in that way also, the UA bill, that UA bill which was introduced in GST to ease the movement of goods within the state or outside the state, this concept of bill was introduced. But the entire management of electronic way bills is in electronic form without any manual intervention, which will reduce or rather eliminate discussion, and is a welcome move, definitely. Rule 138 has narrated the provisions of UA bill, which is to be generated on the common UA bill portal. Everything is going to be in the portal. Generation of UA bill is necessary if the value of the goods exceeds rupees 50,000, be it in single invoice, bill, delivery challenge, or in aggregate for a vehicle. All these cases, all these issues will be discussed by the learned speakers. I will not be delving on much. Just I will be giving an overview because I have been told to give an overview. But I will be rather very much interested to tell you how from the tax research department, how our profession, how our institute is really eager to contribute to the nation, to the government, to our CBIC, to all the authorities, that how we, because as a responsible institute and set up under the Minister of Corporate Affairs, we understand that it's our paramount duty to develop the skill amongst our young generations who are taking this commerce as their their career. So in this aspect, just I want to mention before you that this UA bill is such an important aspect on this GST that you can see that if this UA bill can be generated or cancelled through even SMS, Android app, and site-to-site integration through API. So you can understand that how much important it has been kept, it has been set that you can, it is very user-friendly. And as a professional, as a student, as a commerce student, we have to understand this thing. I congratulate the college authority. I congratulate Vaishnav College that they have really chosen a very apt topics, particularly in this juncture of time when COVID-19 is really pushing us in a difficult phase, but it is also giving us an opportunity. So we have to understand the concept of UA bill in a very right perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, every registered person who shall move the consignment of value exceeding rupees 50,000 for supply or reasons other than the supply shall provide information electronically in Part A of Form GST INS 01. The same information is to be furnished if the inward supply is made for unregistered person. In case of inward supplies from unregistered persons, the registered person shall furnish the informations. That means that in every aspect, all these, these forms and others, we have to learn and we have to understand that ultimately this UA bill issue for us would be a matter for our knowledge, which will ultimately help us to serve the client, to serve the trades and industry, whether it is MSME, whether it is mid corporate, what it is corporate, but ultimately it will help us to serve the client in a big way. And a lot of documents are required, like invoice, bill of supply, challan related to the consignment of goods, transporter's ID, vehicle number, transporter's ID, transporter document number, date on the documentation, etc., etc. So we have to understand how the validity of UA bill will be. This UA bill can be extended. It can be extended also. The validity of the UA bill also we have to understand in a better manner. And what are the forms, various forms, which will ultimately help us to generate this, utilize this UA bill in a proper manner, and how we will execute this. And this ultimately it will be giving a huge benefit to the industry. That you have to also understand. Ultimately, UA bill will help us for faster and more seamless movement of goods, both intra and interstate, which is most important for any sort of trade and commerce. The ease of doing business, this is the most important issue. And India has continuously been rising, and they are getting their placement, they are getting their their degree of this business, that is business, that ease of business. We are really continuously our Prime Minister wants that we have to have a ease of doing business in a very faster manner, so that in the first rank we come, and ultimately we have really done it. You know, the last year also we have jumped in a very comfortable position there. And then, you know, quicker turnaround times, that is most important. The quicker turnaround time was a problem once upon a time. For this, lot of, you know, costs were involved. So now the costs are also minimized due to this UA bill. The improved countrywide logistics network, and hence less traffic congestion on major routes, it will be there. Convenient bill generating system, as bills can be generated online, and better tax compliance since the system is online. So you can understand that UA bill is such an important document. We have to understand the nitty-gritty and the whole mechanism and the modus operandi of this particular UA bill. So in that perspective, I just want to mention, because I am rather eager to tell you the certain activities of our tax research department, through which we are, and in fact, I am very much we are rather obliged to the college that Mr. Sivasan is here. Perhaps I should also mention you that we are going to have one opportunity to enter into more. We'll be doing very shortly. We'll be doing it, and I would like to, sir, I will want to tell you that from that tax research department activities are webinars on direct and indirect tax for members. Lot of, we are continuously doing. Last we did one face-to-face assessment and Benami Property Act. The last week we have only done on 26th. And continuously we are holding webinars for our members, even session area, which is really accepted by the industry in a very overall way, because they understand that we are collecting these stories and we are putting this before our website also. You'll be getting it. Then workshops and seminars and on taxations we are continuously doing. We are also imparting corporate trainings through our resource persons. Mr. B.M. Gupta is one of our resource persons who is helping us for this corporate trainings. And most important thing is that we have taxation help desks. Whenever any problem arises, any sort of queries are there, either from the members or from other stakeholders, our taxation help desk is continuously 24/7 is there to reply to their queries. And fortnight tax bulletin, we are very much honestly and very sacrosanctly, we are publishing fortnightly tax bulletin, which contains major informations on the various developments, various circulars of the departments. And we are also conducting various courses on direct and indirect tax, and also crash course for college and university. Today we are with Vaishnav College, and here I am really happy to learn from Dr. Prabha that this courses are being launched in a very successful manner. It is being continued, and we are also having various publications on direct and indirect tax. So actually, the tagline of the institute is, behind every successful business decision, there is always a CMA. We are following it in a very honest way, and we are trying to further increase our further visibility amongst the stakeholders. And I would request, sir, to all of you to please suggest us how we can reach to more and more stakeholders, so that ultimately we can help the nation to grow, and the revenue of the department should increase, and there should be a very transparent system of taxation. For that, the Institute of Cost Accountants of India welcome you, sir. We will be very much obliged to you for your valuable inputs to our institute. Thank you. I am really, again, I acknowledge my gratefulness to the college for giving me an opportunity to describe our department's work and to put some of my views on UA bill on GST. Thank you.
Sir, thank you for your wonderful special address. You have highlighted the importance of UA bill and what is the way forward after the Honorable PM's call on Atmanirbhar Bharat, the self-reliant India. May I now request our Shivasan sir to deliver his lecture.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Rakesh, for one more opportunity for me to speak to the students community. In fact, I feel that it's a great privilege for me to share the stage with a very august gathering here, like Chitranjan sir from Kolkata, and Mallikarjun sir from probably Kolkata, I hope, or from Chennai, and also Dr. Prabha Rajagopalan, In fact, I found that she has been one of the main sources who has been instrumental in organizing all these sessions for the benefit of the students. And of course, special thanks to Rakesh sir also for this wonderful initiative, which he has been doing meticulously week after week. And definitely, I think students community will be indebted for all the efforts that's being taken on behalf of the department on college by Mr. Rakesh. Thank you very much. I would like to make a small presentation in this regard. And the prospects of my session today will be only to talk from the government's perspective, in the sense that how this e-way bill in fact has benefited the trade, and how it has in fact totally rationalized the system of capturing the data with reference to movement of goods. Consciously having in mind the session that is going to follow, I will not be speaking anything about the legislative aspects of e-way bill nor the business process with reference to e-way bill. I will be only talking to you on the objectives and the success story of e-way bill from the government's perspective, who have been toiling, in fact, day and night to ensure that this scheme, which is in fact very, very beneficial scheme for the traders and the stakeholders, and make it as success as possible. So I will be sharing my screen here. I hope the screen is visible to you. One line of confirmation will help me to move on. Is the screen visible, sir?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Right. So I will go ahead and then make the presentation. Right, what this e-way bill, I would like to start with this small prelude. E-way bill before launch was on a one way, because we were not aware of what is going to happen as far as the traders are concerned, how this system will be adopted by them, and how they will be comfortable in complying with this legislative obligation. So we always felt that e-way bill before launch was on a one-way track, but since launch, which is on a highway with lot of takeaway. In fact, initial periods of e-way bill created a little bit of discomfort, in the sense that there were a little bit of technical glitch. But after that, after the launch was full, I think it was on a highway, and there are a lot of takeaway for the stakeholders as well as for the departmental officers. And let me also say that there is no way one can escape this way, because there is no leeway in this. It's a legislative compliance obligation. Therefore, one will have to necessarily follow it. And by the way, the only way left is to launch oneself in this system of e-way bill. Anyway, whether one likes it or not, the best way is to follow the legal way. And because e-way bill has become a legal obligation, one will have to necessarily follow it. Just to have a statistical outlook, we've always been saying that e-way bill in fact has been doing a very good job ever since its launch in 2018. And let me tell you that there has been more than 100 crore e-way bills that has been generated over this period of time till in fact yesterday, October 2020. 100 crore e-way bills that has been generated. And to give a small vivisection of how it panned as far as interstate transport and intrastate transportation, interstate transport has accounted for almost 44 crore, and intrastate transport has contributed for 56 crore, which means that they are almost running an equal race, 55-45 being the ratio, which means that the compliance has been perfect, and there is no scope or room for using it as a tool for evasion, because compulsorily people have started adjusting to this requirement. To be precise, when this e-way bill was launched on July 31st alone, this is of some statistical academic importance. On one particular day, 31st July 2019, on that particular day, the highest number of e-way bills were generated on a single day. 34 lakh e-way bills was generated on that particular day. This is for academic interest, which in fact goes on to show that the system is so robust, even in the earlier days of 2019, which is capable of handling almost more than 35 lakh hits per day, which means that the system is stable and it is capable of handling any amount of traffic. In fact, e-waybill compulsion has increased the taxpayers base by about 39 lakhs. And you know that transporters are also part of the ecosystem of e-waybill, and exclusively a transporter can also register in the e-waybill portal only for the purpose of generating e-waybill. About 78,000 transporters alone have registered in the e-waybill portal so that they can generate and facilitate transportation of goods as well as legislative compulsions, both from their suppliers' point of view as well as from their clients' point of view. 78,000 new transporters have registered, of course, only on the e-waybill, not for GSTIN. It is only for the purpose of generating e-waybill. The average e-waybill generation, earlier it was about 13 lakhs when it was introduced. Slowly in the middle, you know that this became a reality from 1st of April 2018, and then from 1st of July 2018 for all intra as well as interstate transactions, it became compulsory. Somewhere around in middle of September, the average e-waybill that was generated was about 16 lakhs per day. And mind you that we have been generating almost 30 lakh e-waybills per day during October 2020. The average number of e-waybills that are being generated per day has now risen from 13 lakhs in October 2020. And you must also remember the fact that October 2020 was part of this pandemic. In spite of that, a large number of e-waybills were generated, which precisely shows that the industry has started functioning very well, and then it has come out of that economic depression that was caused because of this extraordinary situation created by COVID-19. State-wise performance, this is also for academic interest. Let me tell you that about top 6 states which have been generating quite large number of e-waybills. The first one is Maharashtra, followed by Gujarat, Haryana, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, and of course Tamil Nadu is also not far behind in the race. These are the states which have been generating a large amount of e-waybill, which means that the economic activity in these states, in fact, are very agile and very good. Let me also tell that after Tamil Nadu, I think Andhra Pradesh and Telangana are following the leaders here. And to be honest, it is around 61% of the total e-waybill that has been that is being generated day on day on the e-waybill portal are from this top 8 states. So 61% of the e-waybills are generated by these top 8 states, which means to which goes on to show that the fact that the states have started performing very well. Now let me enlighten you a little bit on the benefits of this e-waybill for the trade. First and foremost, the most important aspect which the e-waybill has created is that the traders or the stakeholders need not visit tax offices anymore. So this in fact has saved a lot of time and also energy for the stakeholders. Earlier, they used to visit the tax offices, predominantly the state tax offices, because the central taxes, in fact, does not envisage visit of taxpayers to their tax officers for getting signature or for getting any pre-authentication on the documents. But there are a lot of state governments which still followed the principle that some of the documents like C-forms, etc., requires a pre-authentication by the tax officer, and therefore the traders were compelled to visit the tax office. But with the introduction of e-waybill, the traders need not visit the tax offices anymore. This, in fact, creates 2 advantages. One, it is not only the time which is very precious for the taxpayers, but also for the tax officers, a lot of time on unproductive work of simply pre-authenticating the documents. So it has benefited not only the traders, but also the tax officers in a dual way. Second is the average waiting time at the checkpost reduced drastically. In fact, I was part of this which in fact was contemplating the scheme of revision of this e-waybill as well as the legislative aspects with reference to e-waybill, where we did a small research to find out what is the average time that is taken at the checkposts for the vehicles when they start moving from one state to another state. You all know that when goods one state to another state, they have to transport. So such pass will be given only is being post. Was not in days. In fact, it took almost 30 time at the check post, almost 9 hours, unproductively and has reduced time to versus in the year to across the check post were abolished. In fact, that had facilitated a lot of taxpayers to evade tax. Also, it created a small window in which there was a possibility for evasion of taxes, but that also was brought down after the introduction of e-way bill. So the average waiting time at the check post for the purpose of indirect tax compliances has come down to zero. There is no only for getting the tax. The scope for illegitimacy has been eliminated in the office of check post. Of course, we have in fact abolished all the check posts, so there is no question of any post. This has also facilitated taxpayers to comply with the legislative obligation in a better manner. It all helped in self once either or any of them document is just the job. People four people as part of this at the system. So it has goods. The supplier cannot generate an e-way bill, and of goods contain a lot of discipline with reference to most of the unorganized sector, especially the goods transport sector, which the main intention is to regulate such unorganized sector. Fifth very important point is that friendly has been estimated by our research that nearly 50 tons of paper is saved per day. Let me tell you, friends, here that to generate 1 ton of paper, we require at least 24 trees to be cut, to be chopped off. 24 trees, which is of 40 feet length paper, we need to chop 1,200 trees per day. So we are saving 1,200 trees per day because we are not compulsorily making it necessary to take a physical copy of the e-way bill. So once e-way bill is generated, the e-way bill reference number along with the QR code will suffice for any type of verification in case of interception by the officers in transit, or also for the transport person, or also for the recipient of supply. There is no necessity to carry physical copy of this e-way bill, neither the delivery challan. So which means that we have in fact extended our and ensured that we have better carbon footprints for our Mother Earth. We also have accurate database created useful for the tax analysis. Earlier, it used to be a sort of a fishing expedition by the tax officers. They simply stand on the roads and then check every lorry that comes and passes their post. But now, with accurate database, it need not be like a fishing expedition. It always remained as searching for a black cat in a dark room, which may not be there. But now, with focused assessment of the department that is recently, and invoicing probably will lead to a faceless assessment when invasive inspections have been completed unless you have a concrete reason there is a inspection on the goods that are being transmitted. And departing model to self capture movement of model of and then systematic assessment on business intelligence given by the next step e-invoicing. I think the one of the menace that the department has been facing on fake invoices will also get reduced. There is no need for transit pass. See, every time when the goods are moved, upon entry into a state and also upon exit from the state, 2 entries will have to be made at the check post. But the possession of e-waybill will eliminate this requirement of generating a both the date e-waybill so the data the movement of goods and it is maintain of the case that any against the belief for the tax in this number has been or he gets caught. 4 people are part of this ecosystem which execute sufficient and substantial. Features of the friendly Malik, how user friendly it is and quick to generate this e-way bill, and also share his experience, the entire business process, and how easy and quick suppliers with reference to the transporters not click again, get document which is select the variable towards the end, and you can keep me variables generated on my behalf by the instantly whenever you log into the system. Then features of the system, there are multiple modes for generating e-labels. I will be explaining that also. Little just an overview of that. I will not go into the details of that. And then roles can be assigned as sub-users also. That facility is also there. Generating from the data from the e-label, you can always capture the information as part of your GSTR1 return. And of course, now when you generate an e-invoice, e-way bill can be generated, and when you generate an e-way bill, from that e-invoice can also be generated, so which acts complementary to each other. And then alerts are also there online, and SMS alerts are also there. Whenever somebody is using your GSTIN for generating e-way bill, you can in fact personalize an SMS alert also. Then QR code is part of this e-way bill mechanism, which captures all the critical and core information that are with reference to this data with reference to the transaction of the good, movement of the goods. One more very important aspect, I think, which the next speaker also will be throwing light on, is that e-way bill is one document which is to be generated for all movement of goods. Not necessarily that it has to be a taxable supply. It can be for reasons other than supply also. Even if the movement is on account of reasons other than supply, e-way bill shall be generated. So this is one of the very, very important aspects with reference to e-way bill, because unlike a tax invoice, which is to be generated under Section 31 of the CGST Act, it shall be generated only when you recognize a taxable supply, whereas e-way bill shall be generated for reasons other than supply also, whether it creates a tax liability or not, but simply because you are moving the goods from a registered person premises, you have to generate an e-way bill. So that is very, very important. It is in deviation of the generally understood principles. So this reason other than supply could be testing, exports, job work, removal in SKD, line sales, sales return, so and supply to exhibitions, for stock transfers also. See, generally it is not understood as per your accounting principles. Stock transfers are not considered as taxable activity, but under GST, stock transfers from one state to another state is considered as a taxable activity, where you generate a tax invoice under Section 31. But these tax transfers, when it happens within the state, it is not treated as taxable supplies, because it is from one principal place of business to an additional place of business within the same GSTN, which means that it is not a taxable supply, but still movement of goods is happening. So in such situations, e-waybill will have to be generated, supply on approval basis, and in some situations where the goods are sent for weighment purposes also. These are the reasons where e-waybill will have to be necessarily generated by the person who causes movement of goods. As I told you, there are multiple modes of generating e-waybill. One is the rudimentary method through web online based. So every time you log in, create an e-waybill, then use that to cause the movement of goods. Or e-waybill can be done through SMS also, e-waybill through mobile app also. This app is available for both Android as well as for iOS versions. Initially, it was not available for iOS version, but subsequently, from OS platform also. We also have an API interface where you can have a site-to-site integration in case you are generating voluminous e-waybills per day. Maybe you are causing movements which involves about 25,000-30,000 delivery challans or documents. In such situation, you can interface your ERP with the GSTN ecosystem, so that there is a seamless interface between your accounting software and the government site, and e-waybill will be generated instantly when a trigger is on. Then bulk generation offline utility tool is also made available, which you can use an Excel format or a CSV format, convert it into a JSON file, and then give it to the e-waybill ecosystem, which will create an e-waybill number and then give it back to you. Of course, you can also use the help of the Suvidha providers. I think there are about 79 Suvidha providers across the country today. Their help can also be used. This is how you will see the home page of e-waybill login. I thought I will just give you a snapshot of this. I will not go into the details, which my successor will be speaking about. The dashboard reports are also provided. Radio frequency identification device is a pilot project which is in progress, where the details are expected to be captured in the RFID, that is radio frequency identification device, that is impregnated in each and every vehicle. Every commercial vehicle which is registered from January 2019 will have an RFID device, which means that the data with reference to this e-waybill can be impregnated in this RFID device. And when the lorry actually crosses this RFID sensor, which is kept at the check post, the data will be automatically captured. So this is the pilot progress that's happening, and that's a way forward probably. And then this is what I said, customization of your dashboard, where you can have information about the e-waybill generated by me, e-waybill cancelled by me, e-waybill rejected by me, generated by other person on my GSTIN, and my e-waybills rejected by other party, and e-waybills pending for Part B updation. So all these information can be available as part of your dashboard, which can be in fact customized either for 3 days or 5 days or 10 days, so on and so forth. So this will in fact give one snapshot of information, how your GSTN is being used by you, by a third party, or by your supplier. You also have so many facilities like generation of e-waybill, consolidated e-waybill, reports with reference to e-waybill, masters, user management, where you can assign roles and sub-roles as sub-users. And then there is also a provision for registration on the e-waybill portal, the mobile number or the email ID to which the information will have to be sent. So all these information are available. So it is a completely perfect web-based site where every aspect with reference to e-waybill can be done. And data exchange, every day actually the data from the e-waybill portal is given to the GSTN, and from the GSTN portal it is the e-waybill portal. You have to understand that e-waybill portal is something which is maintained and managed by NIC, National Informatics Center, but hosted by GSTN, that is Goods and Service Tax Network. And that's precisely why it is also falling within the ambit of the meaning of common portal. And there is always real-time exchange of information between GSTN and the e-waybill portal. So updation is being done. every day on incremental basis, and therefore any changes in the GSTN will be updated with the e-waybill, as well as every data that is created on the e-waybill portal will be immediately made available to the GSTN systems. Way forward, as far as e-waybill is concerned, so this is what we are actually planning to create a sort of an igloo whenever a carrier that is causing movement of goods is traveling. Probably we can create an igloo with all the RFID sensors that is kept inside this igloo, and once the lorry or commercial passes through this igloo, and that the information with reference to e-waybill are in fact captured in the RFID device of the commercial vehicle. There is no necessity for any officer to manually intervene and then capture the data. All the data will be made available when the commercial vehicle passes through this igloo. We will be having a lot of RFID sensors, 3-dimensional or in fact 8-directional RFID sensors, which will help us to capture the information from wherever the RFID device is kept in the commercial vehicle. So this is a way forward, and it has always been a game set match for everyone in the ecosystem. Better revenue collection has been there. It has been an effective tool to track the movement of goods at both ends. It has improved the compliance obligation, which means that it has not incentivized evasion. It has brought down the evasion. There is no cumbersome documentation by the states, and state-based documents need not be maintained. As I told you, it is going to be a one document for one nation and device. We capture the information, is no longer a necessity to capture the physical data. Finally, removal of all checkposts, as I told you, has created an ease in movement of goods, reduced the transit time. In fact, the average time taken by a vehicle is, average speed at which the vehicle travels in India with the road conditions in India is estimated to be about 40 kilometers per hour. And the average distance, generally he drives for 6 to 8 hours, and the average distance covered is about 250 to 350 kilometers. But now, with the introduction of e-waybill, we have identified that this average distance covered by every vehicle has increased from 350 kilometers to 500 kilometers. In fact, it is a substantial and exponential jump, which means the time taken for a vehicle from traveling from Chennai to Bombay is reduced by 1.5 times. In case earlier it used to take about 10 days, now it will take not more than 6 days. So this is the advantage, which means that the ideal time of the transport vehicle has been brought down. It can be put for a better and more efficient commercial use. So this is one of the best USPs that has emerged out of this e-waybill mechanism. So finally, it has created a situation in line with the general objective of GST: one nation, one market, one tax. And also now we have one document across India, from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, or from Gujarat to Arunachal, the goods goes. This by about 10 minutes. But anyway, I'm sorry for that. But still, I thought I should give the essence of e-waybill before the next speaker actually starts speaking. In case there are any questions on this aspect, either you can put it in the chat box, which is very much visible to me, or the questions can be taken towards the end of the session also. So thank you very much once again. And I wish I give my best wishes to the next speaker, Mr. Mallikarjun, so that he takes forward the audience on the legislative aspects as well as the business processes with reference to e-waybill. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your excellent presentation on the departmental perspectives and the practical initiatives that have been undertaken by the government and the department. It was very nice to hear about the RFID, the removal of check post, and the way forward to put it in a igloo. So it was mind-blogging session, sir. May now request BM Gupta to present this lecture.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Srivastav, sir. It was a very excellent presentation. I could learn a lot of things, and the way the department is taking up today is very excellent at par with other developed nations, to be honest. As per the statistics I have, sir, we have generated till date more than 146 crore e-way bills from 2018 to till date. That means on an average, more than one e-way bill per every citizen of our country. That's a huge and a tremendous achievement by the government of India, sir. And it is possible because of officers who are sitting at the back end and helping the government as well as the taxpayers to do their business seamlessly without any challenges. So let me share my screen. Friends, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah. Yes. So these are the books which I've authored and co-authored. And today's agenda is very simple. And some of the points have been covered by Srivastav sir. I'll skip those points and then take up the other points. This is my agenda for today's discussion. And if you see here, the things which are propping up basically is nothing but the tax evasion which is taking place very rampantly. This tax evasion is not carried away or done by all the taxpayers, but with some black sheep in the whole ecosystem. They are creating hurdles for the other taxpayers who are genuine and filing the returns. So, in order to bring everybody on the mainstream into the business arena, this GST has been implemented as one nation, one tax, which all of you are aware that it has eased the way of doing business in India very drastically. And with the introduction of e-way bill, again, these points have been discussed by the Srivastav sir. In a nutshell, it is very, very simple and easy to operate. Even a layman can get into the GST portal, that is the e-way bill portal managed by the NIC, that is National Informatics Center, and generate the e-way bills. Yes, these e-way bills can be carried in a paper format as well as in the digital format. As sir has already mentioned, we have saved huge number of trees from getting cut down and then saving the paper basically. We are providing to the whole ecosystem and the mother earth in a much beneficial manner. And benefits also sir has discussed, so I'm not taking much of this time here basically. And coming to the legislative procedure, e-way bill has to be issued as per provisions of Rule 138 of the CGST Rules 2017. In which cases it has to be issued? If the consignment value is more than 50,000 rupees in relation to a supply or for reasons other than supply or due to inward supply from an unregistered person. Now, when we say in relation to supply, everybody is aware that whenever there is a purchase or a sale transaction, and if my movement of goods is above 50,000 rupees, then e-way bill has to be generated. Now, what about other than supply? There can be cases like I am having an office in Chennai and I have a branch office in Coimbatore. I am a manufacturer of pharmaceutical products. I am shipping my pharmaceutical products which are manufactured in my manufacturing unit at Gundi in Chennai to Coimbatore office basically to be sold further from there basically. So, as per the provisions of the law, transaction which is happening between or within the state with the same GSTN number is not treated as a supply. So in such cases, tax invoices will not be issued, but in lieu of a tax invoice, we are required to issue a document called delivery challan. So here there is no concept of supply at all, but still there is a movement of goods and government wants to keep a tab from where the goods are moving so that tax evasion can be eliminated totally. So in such cases is one example. The other case can be like I am sending my material from my factory to my job worker. Now, I'm asked to manufacture, say, for example, the hot burning topic in today's scenario is COVID vaccine. Now, I got a permission to make COVID vaccine, say from AstraZeneca, say, for example. Now, my manufacturing capacity is not meeting the requirements. So, what I do, I outsource some portion or total of my manufacturing facility to the other player, basically, where we call it as a job worker. When I send the material to my job worker for his further processing or manufacturing, there also there is no supply. I send the material on a delivery challan. He manufactures it, or he rather does the packing or this finishing whatever is required. Then he sends it back to me. There is no supply. I'll pay him only for the processing charges. Even in such cases, this e-way bill is required to be issued. The third case is due to inward supply from unregistered person. Now, we had under GST initial days of rollout of GST a provision called when you purchase goods from an unregistered taxpayer, you are supposed to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism. Over a period of time, because of the hardships faced by the trade and industry, the government is kind enough to listen to the taxpayers' challenges, and it has totally dropped that particular section, and it has replaced with a new provision which says that for a class of services or goods or taxpayers, that will be notified, and that has been notified only in case of real estate transactions or the builders, basically. If their purchase is less than 80% from the registered taxpayers for a particular project, then this unregistered taxpayers comes into picture, and where they have to pay GST on reverse charge mechanism. That is one portion of it. Even today also, that reverse charge is not there, but I am purchasing some goods from one of my supplier who is not registered under GST because his turnover is less than 40 lakhs. When my supplier's turnover is less than 40 lakhs, he need not take registration under GST. But since I'm purchasing material and the government wants to keep tab of the movement of goods, this e-way bill is required to be generated, because this will ensure that from which location to which location the goods are moving, and it also helps the department to keep track whether that person's turnover is genuinely less than 40 lakhs or he has crossed 40 lakhs, because all the buyer's information will be recorded on the government portal. Now, who can issue e-way bills? E-way bill can be generated by the buyer or the seller. Now, in most of the cases in the business practice, what we see is the seller generates the e-way bill, dispatches the goods along with the tax invoice and e-way bill. In certain cases, what happens is, one case what we discussed is if I purchase goods from an unregistered taxpayer, or there can be a case I am shipping my goods to my customer, basically who is based out of Bombay from Chennai. Now, because of sudden heavy downpour of rain, or because of some power issues in my place or internet connectivity challenges, I could not generate my e-way bill. In such case, I can ask my customer to generate an e-way bill on behalf of me. So this will ensure that business is not disrupted at any point of time. The compliance is taken care, as well as business is going as a going concern without any challenges. So that is the reason where the option for the buyer to generate the e-way bill has been provided. The second one is in case of goods are sent through e-commerce operators. Now we have seen till recently concluded this big billion sale from the Amazon, from the Flipkart or the Amazon festival sale. Now, on e-commerce platform means any platform which is operated by a person using technology, but where buyers come from different parts of the country, and sellers or small players or big players who are scattered across the country. So they can sell their goods on the Amazon or Flipkart or Shopify or Paytm Mall or something like that. So in such cases, on behalf of the buyer or the seller, e-commerce operator can generate the tax e-way bill. Or Even a transporter can generate the e-way bill on behalf of the buyer or the seller. Most probably it will be the seller. Again, in case of job work we discussed, the principal or the job worker can generate the e-way bill basically. Now, there will be certain challenges where e-way bill cannot be generated at the time of movement of goods. So one such is when I'm transporting goods by railways. If I know what is my consignment value, how many boxes, how many kilograms, then I can generate the e-way bill. But suppose I'm transferring some iron ore basically, or coal, or any natural resources like ores. Normally, I book a whole consignment of a whole wagon, basically rake we call it. It has 54 boxes or wagons basically, each goods train. Now, there they do not do the weighment because the train cannot go to a weigh bridge and they cannot weigh it because it is a loose material. In such cases, they take volumetric ratio. When we take the volumetric ratio, it means the ore has to be completely loaded on the railway boxes or the wagons basically. Then only volumetric ratios can be taken. The provision says that e-way bill has to be generated at the time of movement of goods. So relaxation has been given in this particular case where you can ship the goods or move the goods from your mine head to the railway wagon yard, goods yard, then load the material. Once all the wagons are loaded or the boxes are loaded, you can take the volumetric ratios, then come back and generate the e-way bill. But in such cases, before the goods train reaches the destination, this e-way bill has to be generated. Even unregistered tax person can also generate the e-way bill. Now, in all cases which is mandatory, e-way bill has to be generated. Wherever there is interstate movement of goods from a principal to a job worker, then e-way bill generation is mandatory. And handicrafts basically, these are manufactured or practiced or made by small artisans, and they are not, technically speaking, highly qualified, and they're mostly from the rural areas, and they do not have access to the network connectivity where they can generate the e-way bill. So the government of India is very kind enough and has exempted for transportation of handicrafts also. The person who is making these handicrafts need not generate the e-way bill. But if that transportation is happening between two different states, in that case only it is required. But if it is happening within the same state, then it is not required. Now, we are talking about e-way bill, who has to generate, when it has to be generated. Now, on what value I need to generate the e-way bill? So, for example, I have a tax invoice of 150 lakhs, basically 1.5 lakhs. On that, say for theoretical purpose and for discussion purpose, I have a CGST and SGST if I am selling within the same state of 20%. Now, when I generate my e-way bill, that value has to be mentioned. Now, when I mention that value, do I need to mention 1.5 lakhs or 1.5 lakhs plus 20% of my GST, which comes to 30,000 rupees? Is it 1.5 lakhs or 1.8 lakhs? The provisions clearly states that e-way bill has to be generated for 1.8 lakhs. That means it should include the taxable value plus the tax amount. Now, say for example, I am shipping both taxable goods and non-taxable goods. So, for example, I'm manufacturing, say, both printed books and at the same time and selling some stationery also. I am sending one vehicle load from Chennai to Bangalore. In that vehicle load, my total consignment value is say 3 lakhs of rupees, where my stationery value is around 2 lakhs and my printed books is 1 lakh. printed books are exempted from GST. So in such case, I need to issue an e-way bill for only 2 lakhs basically. My tax invoice will be for 3 lakhs plus applicable GST on that. And at the same time, when I'm generating the e-way bill, it will exclude, that means I will not consider the printed books when generating the e-way bill. I will consider only 2 lakhs plus GST on that. This provision we have already discussed when we are discussing shipping the goods by rail, that e-way bill can be generated before the delivery of the goods that is taking place. Now, is it mandatory for me to generate e-way bill in all cases? No. As for any law or provision, there will be certain exceptions. Similarly, for generation of e-way bill also, there are certain exceptions. So what is the first exception? The rule 138 has given a annexure basically, which says that in case when you're transporting goods in all these cases mentioned in annexure A, then e-way bill is not required to be generated. What are those things? When I am transferring liquefied petroleum gas for supply to household or non-domestic exempted category, or when I'm selling kerosene through public distribution scheme, or postal baggages being transported by the Department of Posts, or in case of natural or cultured pearls, jewelry, goldsmiths or silversmiths, wares of article which are falling under chapter 71. Currency, when RBI Mint prints the currency notes, and when the transfer from the currency notes to the various regional chests managed by the by the State Bank of India or the Reserve Bank of India, or when currency is being transferred from the chest to the ATMs, even in such cases, e-way bill is not required. When goods are used for personal or household effects, say for example, I am employed in Chennai and I got a good opportunity and I'm moving to Delhi basically. So when I move to Delhi, I'm also required to take my personal belonging also basically along with me. So at that point of time, I hire a truck and ask the truck driver to transfer all my personal goods from Chennai to Delhi, or I can engage a packers and movers. In such cases also, e-way bill is not required to be generated. Choral work which are falling under chapter 0508 which are unworked, and which are worked falling under chapter 9601 are also exempted from issue of e-way bill. Now, e-way bill is required to be issued. We have discussed basically where it is not required. One is goods are falling under that particular annexure. Next one, if goods are being carried by a non-motorized transportation. Say for example, I'm shipping my goods from Gundi factory to Egmore warehouse basically. If I'm using a tempo travel or something like that, that is a motorized vehicle. But if I use a bullock cart, in such cases, this e-way bill is not required to be issued. The intention of the department and the government is very good, but it has been started being misused of late, because people started carrying these goods when they start between two different states transactions. They started using transporting through these bullock carts or camel carts or manually basically. So this is one provision which people are misusing to some extent. Other one is when goods are being transported from the customs port or airport or air cargo complex and customs station to an inland container depot or container freight station for clearance by customs. When I'm exporting or importing goods, I need to transfer my goods. In such cases also it is exempted. Again, the next is the list of 5 goods which are exempted from GST, basically, which are outside the purview of GST, like liquor for human consumption, petroleum crude, high speed diesel oil, motor spirit, or natural gas and aviation turbine fuel basically. Whenever we are moving all these goods, even in such cases also, e-way bill is not required to be generated. Or in cases where goods being carried or transported or falling under Schedule 3, which primarily talks about neither supply of goods nor supply of services under GST. Or when goods are being transported from transit cargo to Nepal or Bhutan. And other one is when goods are caused by defense formations basically. Now of late we have heard that there is a tension between India-Chinese border, and to mobilize the armed forces, various defense personnel equipment have been moved from across the country to the Leh Ladakh in the Jammu Kashmir region. So whenever a tanker or any ammunition which is required for the air force or for the army, in such cases, even the value is more than 50,000 rupees. All such consignments or such movements are being exempted from the issue of e-way bill. Or when goods are being asked to be transferred by the central government or the state government or local authorities through the movement of rail, then also it is exempted. Even when empty cargo containers are transported. Now we see nowadays that containers basically are being transported or used for transportation of goods from one location to the another location. Now I made more. Hyundai is having a manufacturing facility near Chennai. They have transported say 16 Hyundai cars in one container from Chennai to Delhi. The cars will go through this container on the vehicle. They get delivered to the dealer in Delhi. Now, when that container is coming back from Delhi to Chennai or moving from Delhi to another location, for such cargo containers, even e-way bill is not required because the cargo container is treated as a good because it is movable, it is can be fixed or it can be mounted on a vehicle. So even in such cases also it is exempted. Another case is in factories. We normally have weighbridge, and in case of small factories, we may not have a weighbridge. In such cases, my incoming raw material or my finished goods has to be weighed. Now, how do I weigh that if I don't have a weighbridge at my factory? I need to send it outside my factory. If the distance between the weighbridge and the factory is less than 20 kilometers, then also issue of e-way bill is not required. Threshold limit, we have seen it as per the law, it is 50,000 rupees. Though we call it as one nation, one tax. The threshold limit for e-way bills is not same across the country, across all the states. The main reason why this exemption is given is because of the diversity in the business which is carried out in the country. The single or a common threshold will not work. But at the same time, compliances have to be met along with ensuring that ease of doing business. Keeping these two factors in mind, the government has given the state governments a provision to relax where this movement of goods is 50,000 or in case if the movement is happening within the state between the two different taxpayers between a buyer or a seller. Even in such cases, the exemption varies from state to state. In certain states, it is 1 lakh. In Gujarat, it is 1.5 lakhs. In Delhi, also, it is 1.5 lakhs. In UP, if I'm not wrong, it is 2 lakhs. So that variation is there. Now, another question which commonly comes is I'm shipping my goods from Chennai to Bombay. I've loaded my pharmaceutical products, which I made my tonics and tablets on the vehicle basically. But en route, it has met with a accident or a breakdown. When I'm issuing my e-way bill, I have to ensure that the vehicle number is also entered there. Now, the vehicle number which I've taken is say Chennai TN 062546. But after it crossed the AP border, there was a breakdown for the vehicle. As a transport, my transporter has organized another vehicle and has ensured that my goods reach to the destination within the stipulated time. Now, my e-way bill is issued for one vehicle, but because of the breakdown, I need to change that vehicle. So, in such cases, there is a provision in the law which says that the transporter can go and change the vehicle number. So that in case if any officer finds it en route, verifies it en route, he can show that this is the original vehicle number and this is the new vehicle number, and that will not lead to any compliance issues. Now, what is the validity of my e-way bill? The validity of the e-way bill is 100 kilometers per 1 day. So whenever we generate the e-way bill on the e-invoice e-way bill portal or through the mobile application, what the system asks is the pin code from which location the goods are moving to the which location. Based on the pin code, it will automatically determine the distance between these two locations. Say if my distance is coming to 780 kilometers from point A to point B, in such case, the validity of my e-way bill is 8 days basically. It is 100 kilometers per day. Now, there are chances where I need to carry over dimension cargo. Normally, when we travel on highways, we see vehicles with more than 40 wheels or 60 wheels because they carry like a windmill fan or a blade or some defense equipment or a huge crane or a harvester. All these vehicles are called over dimension cargo. In such cases, the time limit is 20 kilometers per day. And in case of regular consignment, it is 100 kilometers per day. Now, there is also a concept called consolidated e-way bill. Now, what is this consolidated e-way bill? Say, for example, I am shipping goods through DHL courier. You are also shipping goods to DHL courier. Rakesh sir is also sending goods through DHL courier. Each of us will be giving the respective e-way bills. But DHL has collected more than 50 consignments. They've aggregated it and they're carrying it by road from say Chennai to Coimbatore or Chennai to Bangalore. Now, the department officer randomly may inspect that vehicle basically. When inspecting, he may find that 50 different consignments are coming up. He may not have the time or the capability or the infrastructure to verify all these 50 e-way bills in one go. So there is a provision provided where a consolidated e-way bill, that means DHL courier and cargo services will create an e-way bill which has a reference to all these 50 e-way bills. This will ensure verification happening faster, quickly, and also without any confusion. So for that reason, consolidated e-way bill has been provided and it can be generated by the transporter. The next question comes is, once I generate the e-way bill, can I cancel the e-way bill? Yes, you can cancel the e-way bill, but there is a time restriction. Within 72 hours, the e-way bill has to be cancelled. Now, there can be cases you may having a question in your mind. Why do I need to cancel my generated e-way bill? Say, for example, you are shipping the pharmaceutical products which we are manufacturing the Gundi unit, tablets and syrups or tonics basically, to Hyderabad. 3 weeks back, there was heavy rains in Hyderabad and there was a flood-like situation. When you're loading the vehicle, we are not aware in the Chennai plant basically. But after completion of the loading, my invoice is generated, e-way bill is generated. Now, my customer from Hyderabad calls up and says that, sir, please don't send the vehicle because it is flooded in our factory and we cannot do our operations and we cannot even unload also. Now, what is the option left? You cannot send it to another customer basically because invoice is already generated. The only option left is you will issue a credit note, get it knocked off. That is perfect. My commercials are taken care. But what about my compliances when it comes to the e-way bill. So in such cases, I can also cancel the e-way bill which I have generated, but within 72 hours. Now, I have generated the e-way bill and I have entered the vehicle number also. I have entered the shipping location pin code number and the destination location pin code number. That is perfect. Now, the transporter, or if I'm carrying goods in my own vehicle, do I need to carry only the e-way bill? No. Along with the e-way bill, you need to carry the tax invoice or the delivery challan or a bill of supply which has caused the generation of the e-way bill. So ideally speaking, there should be two documents whenever you are carrying your vehicle or vehicle with the movement of goods, if the value is more than 50,000 rupees on a thumb rule. Now, what is this form GST INV1? Srivastav sir has told something called e-invoicing. That e-invoice in GST parlance is referred as form GST INV1. So in both the cases, QR code is generated. The tax invoice which I issue normally will not have a QR code, but from 1st of October 2020, if my turnover is more than 500 crores, I am required to issue an e-invoice. Once the e-invoice is generated by the IRP portal, I'll be having called a QR code. The same QR code can be printed on the e-way bill also. So in such cases, the e-way bill will have two QR codes. One is the QR code for the e-way bill. Second one is the QR code for the e-invoice or the IRN basically. So in such cases, only e-way bill document can be carried, or even the digital copy of it, the scanned copy or the QR code of the e-way bill and e-invoice can be shown to the officers in case if they inspect en route in the transportation of the goods or services. Now, who can verify the e-way bill? Commissioner or the officer empowered by the commissioner can authorize the person and he can verify the e-way bills either physically or through RFID. Now, since there is lot of challenges and tax evasion happening, there is a need for verification of the e-way bills basically. Now, e-way bill verification can be done by the officer as recommended by the commissioner or any authorized personnel. Now, if you see here, the beauty of the system here is whatever verification has happened, the officer has to file the summary within 24 hours. In a part A of form GST EWB03. And the final inspection report has to be filed or uploaded within 3 days. See, because this is ensuring no one can be taken for granted or taken for a right. There is compliances checks and balances provided in the act itself, so that it is not misused either by the taxpayers or by the departmental officers. Now, even the verification should not take more than 30 minutes as per the provisions of the law. In case if that verification is taking more than 30 minutes or if the vehicle is detained for some reason or the other, then the transporter has been given the right to file a complaint using the form EWB04, which is also online. Now, we have seen what are all the provisions of the e-way bill, who has to issue, when it has to be issued, for which goods it is exempted, can cancellation happen, what documents to be carried along with the e-way bill, and what is the valuation procedure for the e-way bill. Now, if I don't follow any of the provisions which we discussed till now, then automatically there will be penal provision. I'll give you a small example. When the e-way bill has been introduced, Gati Cargo Services, there was an issue in the generation of the e-way bill. They could not generate the e-way bill and the vehicle was inspected in between and a heavy penalty of 1.32 crores has been levied. Imagine a penalty of 1.32 crores. Now, who has to pay that? The transporter Gati Temshu, or will Gati customers pay that? They will not pay. Now, such stringent are the legal provisions for the non-compliance of e-way bill. Whenever there is any inspection is happening en route, the officers are entitled in certain cases to detain or seize the goods along with the conveyance through which it is carried out. Say, for example, I'm a transporter and I'm carrying goods of some customer X. He has wrongly reported the value of the goods. For 1 lakh of rupees actual value, he has reported it as 10,000 rupees. It may be a clerical error or a human error, or it is an intentional wrong declaration. In such cases, the transporter is no way responsible for that because he picks up the tax invoice and the goods and moves from one location to the another location. But the customer has wrongly done that. In such cases, if the officer finds out in the inspection, he may levy penalty on the customer. Or in some cases, even the vehicle used for transportation of the goods can be seized by the officer. There is a general provision which talks about 25,000 rupees as per section 125, and specific cases 10,000 rupees, and in certain cases the penalties are also restricted basically. If any of the goods are caught, it is 100% of the tax payable. If the carrier of the goods or the owner of the goods be ready to pay the penalty, it will be 100% of the tax payable. Say, for example, I am carrying goods worth 10 lakhs of rupees and my GST is 20% on 10 lakhs. That comes to 2 lakhs. So I have not issued the e-way bill, or I have not issued the tax invoice basically, for whatever is the reason. If the officer catches hold of my vehicle, once he catches the vehicle, he will inform me, and in such cases, I am asked to pay penalty of 100% of the tax amount. If I agree, then the chapter is closed and I am asked to make the payment through DRC 03 challan basically for payment of penalty. Now, I may contest the value which is penalty given by the department officer. In such cases, I need to pay 50% of the value of the goods. Imagine, on 10 lakhs, 50% is 5 lakhs. So the penalties for detention and seizure are very, very high. So it is always worth to follow the law of the land and minimize the compliances, that is the cost of non-compliances, that is penalties of for detention and seizure. Now, when it comes to the generation of e-way bill, as sir has already discussed, you can go to the GST e-way bill portal and then generate the e-way bill. Now, normally what happens is, to error, it is human. The reason is there can be data entry issues because the person has to see practically the tax invoice, go to the portal and then manually key in the values. That can create data entry errors and wrong information uploaded on the e-way bill, and if caught, the penalties and search and seizure provisions are very stringent. How to avoid that? The government has given a provision called APIs, that is application programming interfaces basically. So using these APIs, I can connect with my Tally or with any of my accounting packages or ERP packages. The moment I generate my tax invoice, these APIs will work from the back end, will talk to the e-way bill portal. Once it is validated, e-way bill is generated and the information is shipped back again. All this process, what we discussed, happens instantaneously. Not even a minute. It's a fraction of a minute, my e-way bill is generated. This is online and without human intervention, and my data is also updated into my ERP system or accounting package for each and every document which I issue. Sorry, be it a tax invoice or a delivery challan. My errors are also eliminated. So the most integrated or the best of the business practices approach followed by the industry is API integration. Now, how to write this API integration, all that, that is altogether a separate topic and it is a technical aspect which we'll not discuss. Now, e-way bills are generated. The moment we generate the e-way bills, the information automatically flows to my GSTR1, which is my outward supplies return. So the moment I log into my outward supplies return filing, basically GSTR1, I get a button in the return which says that, do you want to import your e-way bill data into GSTR1 so that duplication or data entry errors can be avoided. The moment I click on that button, import data from e-way bill portal, all my tax invoices for which I have issued e-way bill, that data will be imported into my GSTR1 return. Where I have not issued my e-way bills, I need to enter only that data or upload that data. This will save the taxpayers time a lot. Now, the main intention of implementation of e-way bill is minimizing or eliminating tax evasion basically. Now, we have also discussed the cases wherever there is supply is not involved. Other than supply also e-way bill is required to be issued. Generally what happens is, I have some job work or I've sent some machinery outside my factory premises for repairs or rewinding or maintenance activity. So even in such cases also, I will issue an e-way bill with the reference of a tax invoice will be not issued here, but a delivery challan will be issued. Now, the department, what it will do is to ensure that everything is in line or not, what they'll say is value for which e-way bills are issued. That will come to me around say 15 lakhs of rupees in a month. Because I've sent 3 lakhs of worth of machinery outside my factory for repairs and maintenance. But my GSTR1 data shows only 12 lakhs. Because everything is integrated and online, the databases of NIC and GST portal interact together. The concerned jurisdictional officer may issue a notice stating that your tax supply value as per e-way bill is 15 lakhs and as per GSTR1 returns is 12 lakhs. So for 3 lakhs, why you did not issue tax invoices, the departmental officer may issue a notice. And in most of the cases, many of the taxpayers are receiving such notices. So how to handle such case basically? We need to make a reconciliation statement stating that 3 lakhs worth in tax invoice is not issued for the simple reason it is the machinery which has been sent out for repairs and maintenance activity or for the job work. Now, if I get a notice next month, it will be there in my mind and I can answer them. But if I get the same notice after 6 months or 1 year or 3 years, it becomes a challenge for me. So every month before we file our GSTR1 return, it is recommended practice to do a reconciliation between the GSTR1 data and e-way bill data. If there is or if there are any differences, make a reconciliation statement and file it. It will be used for your future, where we need not spend hours together to dig that information and provide to them. Or there can be cases like the bill to ship to cases where you must have discussed previously. Or if not, let me give you a small example. Say I received an order from Rakesh sir basically. I don't have that material to be shipped to Rakesh sir. I will ask Srivastava sir to ship that material on behalf of me to Rakesh sir. So when Srivastava sir is shipping the material, he will issue an invoice to me and he will ship the goods to Rakesh sir. So Rakesh sir received the material and Rakesh sir will pay the money, and I in turn will pay to Srivastava sir. That is okay. Now, what will happen? The invoice issued by the Srivastava sir, I can only take the input tax credit. Rakesh sir cannot take the input tax credit. In such cases, if Rakesh sir wants to take the input tax credit, I need to issue another tax invoice. In this case also, there will be no movement of goods because the goods have been already shipped by Srivastava sir to Rakesh sir. So when I file my GSTR1, the invoice issued to Rakesh sir will be reflected, but on my e-way bill portal, that will not be reflected. So that can be a reason for the differences. So all such transactions which are falling under bill to ship to cases have to be identified and should be updated in the reconciliation statement which we are preparing. So we can open up the question and answers, and these are my coordinates. You can reach out to me. I will share my presentation to Rakesh sir, and he can share it with all of you all basically. Thank you all basically.
Sir, thank you for your wonderful presentation on the legal aspects and the various conditions for the e-way bill, know how to issue e-way bill, how it can be cancelled. So it was a very detailed presentation. So it has been a refresher for all the faculties with regard to the e-way bill. So any questions from the faculty members, Dr. Prabha Rajagopalan can raise it. Any specific questions, ma'am? Yeah. So otherwise, I think it was mind-blogging and excellent session. Maybe like participants will require some time to take the inputs and then raise the questions. They can even send a mail to all the resource persons and get it clarified. So may now request Dr. Prabha Rajagopalan, Department of Corporate Secretaryship, to propose the vote of thanks.
Madam, please unmute, madam.
Please unmute.
Thank you, CMA Rakesh Shankar. I deem it a great pleasure to propose a vote of thanks for today's webinar. All that begins well, ends well. On behalf of the management, principal, faculty members of the Department of Commerce and Corporate Secretaryship, DG Vaishnav College, I express my gratitude to the distinguished speaker, CMA Chittaranjan Chattopadhyay, Central Council member, Chairman of BFSI Committee and Indirect Taxation Committee of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, for providing an overview on GST e-way bill and sharing the information about the contribution of the Institute to the CBIC through research of Indirect Taxation Committee. My profound thanks are due to Sri Srivatsan, Additional Assistant Director, National Academy of Customs, Indirect Taxes and Narcotics, Chennai, for providing an excellent and lucid presentation about the promising efforts of the government on e-way bill through statistical highlights on state-wise performance in generation of revenue and the process of data exchange and the stakeholders in GST. I extend my sincere thanks to CMA Bogavalli Mallikarjuna Gupta, Chief Taxologist, Logo Infosoft, for sharing his valuable insights on e-way bill in GST and providing illustrative examples for elaborating the provisions of e-way bill. I express a deep sense of appreciation to CMA Biswarup Basu, President, and CMA P. Raju Iyer, Vice President of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, for lending their support to conduct this informative lecture series on taxpayers' awareness. I express sincere thanks to our Secretary, Sri Ashok Kumar Mundraji, and Principal, Captain Dr. Santosh Babu, for being a pillar of support and encouragement in our academic journey. I am grateful to Dr. J. J. Shankar, Head of the Department of Commerce, and Professor S. Sheshadrinathan, Associate Professor, Department of Commerce, for their expert guidance in conducting this lecture series. I place on record a special thanks to CMA Rakesh Shankar, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, for conceptualizing his untiring efforts in coordinating and providing the logistic support for this webinar series. My special thanks are due to the student Roshan Kumar of 3rd BCom for his valuable support in this webinar. Finally, I thank all the faculty members, research scholars, academicians, and students who have joined with us today in this webinar. Thank you, one and all.